Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Vina, this is Quirky Pineapples, and today we're going to make a vegan pastry cream. Let's get started. So what I really like about this recipe is that it's versatile. So not only can you make a pastry cream or creme patisserie, you can also use this as a basic vanilla pudding if you're in a pudding mood, right? But pastry cream is a really great recipe to have in your baking repertoire because you can use it to make things like banana pudding, or you can use it to fill your pastries or cream puffs or anything that your heart pretty much desires. So it's a really basic recipe, doesn't take a ton of ingredients. Most of these you probably already have in your pantry. You'll need some room temperature, non-dairy milk, cornstarch, granulated sugar, vegan butter, some nutritional yeast, sea salt, vanilla bean paste or regular vanilla extract, and turmeric. Now, what I will say is that two of these are optional. The turmeric is optional. We're mostly just using it to add that rich sort of yellow color that pastry cream usually has. And the nutritional yeast is a bit optional. What the nutritional yeast adds is sort of an eggy type undertone, which pastry cream is kind of known for having because it's most of the time made with egg yolks. But because we're not using eggs here, we're going to use nutritional yeast. Now, if you're making this as a basic vanilla pudding that you're just going to enjoy and consume, for yourself, then you can skip the nutritional yeast and you can probably skip the turmeric. But in this case, we're making a genuine creme patisserie or pastry cream. So we want to add those two elements to make it as close to that consistency, color, and flavor as possible. Okay, so before I turn on my cooktop or before you turn on your stove, we're gonna be working with room temperature ingredients first. So I'm gonna pour my non-dairy milk into our pot here. Oops. Your girl is a little tired. And then I'm going to take my cornstarch and whisk in my cornstarch just a little bit at a time. So we'll start with maybe the first third. And then we're going to whisk in that cornstarch. It's okay if there's a few lumps, but we want to whisk it in cold. We want to whisk it in cold first to give it an opportunity to dissolve, because the lovely baking or cooking magic of cornstarch is that as soon as it's in a hot environment or a boiling environment, it's going to immediately start to thicken, and we don't want that to happen right away. Okay, and then we're going to add the last bit of cornstarch. And to get it all. There we go. That last bit of cornstarch and whisk it in. And then the cornstarch is vitally important because that's what's going to give us that thickened pudding cream consistency. Okay. And then while we're at it, we'll go ahead and add in our sugar. Now we're just going to start with these things for now. To start. And then once all of that's combined, we're going to go ahead and get our heat going. Now it's going to take a little while for it to start coming up to temperature. Once we start seeing kind of a soft boil, we're going to lower that heat down and continue to whisk it. You'll want to keep this moving because you don't want the pastry cream to stick to the bottom of the pan. Let's get it moving. And right now you'll see, it's very white. It doesn't look like a pastry cream at all, which is why we would add that turmeric later. As we add the vanilla bean paste, it's gonna also give it some more color and everything. Trying to mix it up. until we see a little bit of steam coming off of our pan. All right, so now that our milk has started to become a bit warm, we're gonna start adding our other ingredients. I'm gonna add and mix in our nutritional yeast. Try and mix it in as good as I can until it dissolves. And then let's get our vanilla bean paste in. Now, like I said, you could use a regular vanilla extract if you'd like. I just personally really like sort of that really rich flavor that vanilla bean paste gives you. And we'll add in our salt as well. And what the salt is gonna do is heighten up the flavors of that vanilla for us, because we don't want plain pastry cream. We want a deep, rich vanilla pastry cream. Okay. All right, so what we're doing now is we're just waiting for this to get up to a bit of a boil, which shouldn't take too long. But as it's going, you want to keep it moving so that the mixture does not get scorched. There we go. I hate that it got so frothy because you can't really see completely, but you'll notice that it's starting to thicken a bit. Now, once it starts to thicken, as it's doing right now, we're going to turn that heat down a little bit, because now we've got that soft boil going on. And our mixture is getting nice and thick. Okay. Now you'll notice there's a little bit of wobble in it. There we go. And like I said, you kind of have to keep it moving, be really patient with it. And so hopefully you're starting to see now that we've got, like I said, we've got a jiggle in it. And we're gonna whisk this for another few seconds. As you can see, it's starting to get a bit silky. There we go. Now, depending on what you're going to use this for, will depend on the thickness. This thickness that it's at right now is not exactly where it's going to stay, because what we're going to do is chill it, and it's going to get to be a little bit more solid. But what we want, like I said, is a bit of a wobble. And at this stage, it's a really good time to add in your butter. And what the butter does is kind of give it that silky texture and a bit more of a richness. The thing about making a vegan pastry cream is that we're using much lighter ingredients. We're not using, you know, that heavy egg yolk or milk. So you're not gonna have as much of that fat in there. But by adding a little bit of butter, we add in some of that fat. And like I said, it gives it that thickness and that silkiness that we're looking for. All right, once my butter starts to melt, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off now. And right now you pretty much have the makings for a really good vanilla pudding, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and add in the turmeric now. And like I said, this is completely optional. But if you want your pastry cream to have that rich yellow color, then you're gonna use the turmeric. Now don't worry, the turmeric is flavorless. For the most part, you're not gonna taste it in your pastry cream at all. Okay. I'm gonna try and get that last bit out. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's perfect. Now it has that really rich color. And actually, I think it'll be easier to show you sort of on the back of a spoon. So I'm just gonna take a spoon, and you kind of want that thickness where if you run your finger through, you can see how thick it is. I don't recommend you do that while it's this hot, but now you've got a nice thick pastry cream consistency. And this should come out really nice and rich and creamy. Oh, I got some swirls in there. And so what you're gonna do, we're gonna let this cool a little bit before handling it. And then we're gonna transfer it to a glass container. You can use a bowl, you can use a, what are those darn things called? Those airtight kind of Ziploc containers that you use, because it's gonna need to chill for a couple of hours before it's ready to use. So now that our pastry cream has sort of cooled down, you'll just want it to be warm. It's okay to refrigerate it while it's warm. You just wanna make sure that it's not so hot that you can't handle it. So we're gonna go ahead and transfer it to our container here. Right now, obviously it looks a little loose, but don't worry about that. It's gonna stiffen more as it cools over time, okay? Like I said, you'll want this to stay in the refrigerator cooling for at least 2 hours. I usually like to make this the night before I'm planning on using it. And then that way it's just completely cooled through and ready to go. So once you've gotten it into your container, you can use either like plastic cling wrap, or I've got parchment paper here because I don't usually use plastic cling wrap. And you're just going to press it down on top of your pastry cream. Best you can, trying to cover it up. And what this is gonna do is just prevent it from getting that weird skin on top. Which pretty much happens, you know, you might have a little bit of skin, but you're just trying to cover it up. It's a bit of an awkward thing. And then just throw your lid on. Okay, there we go. So you're gonna store this in the fridge, like I said, for at least 2 hours or overnight. Like I said, I prefer to do this the day before and then use it the next day. When you pull it out of the refrigerator, it is going to be kind of like a gelatinous blob, right? That's okay, don't freak out. All that you'll have to do when you're ready to use it, throw it in a bowl. You can whisk it by hand, or you can use a hand mixer. I recommend using a hand mixer. Throw it in your stand mixer, and then you're just gonna give it a whip. You can use your whisk attachment, or you can use your paddle attachment for this. And what it'll do is smooth it out and work out any of those clumps. You transfer it to a pastry bag, and you can use it for whatever dessert you would like. Or like I said, you could use this for like banana puddings or different things like that. But again, don't let that consistency when you pull it out of the refrigerator freak you out by any means. It just needs to be whipped and smoothed back out. If for some reason it's really thick and hard to work with, which really shouldn't happen, but if that happens, then you'll want to add maybe a tablespoon more of plant milk at a time until you get the consistency that you're looking for your specific dessert. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to take this, put it in the fridge, and let it set overnight so that when I'm ready to use it, it'll be ready to go. So if you make this and use it for any of your pastries, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Any of my recipes are always on quirkypineapples.com. I'll put the QR code right here for this specific recipe. Thank you so much for joining me again, and have a wonderful day.